coaches. From the Kansas City Royals, manager Tony Pena. From the Toronto Blue Jays, manager Carlos Tosca. And now the players. From the Anaheim Angels, pitcher Francisco Rodriguez. From the Baltimore Orioles, shortstop Miguel Tejada. From the Boston Red Sox, first baseman David Ortiz. And pitcher Curt Schilling. From the Chicago White Sox, pitcher Esteban Loaiza. From the Cleveland Indians, outfielder Matt Lawton. Second baseman Ron Belliard. Pitcher Jake Westbrook. Catcher Victor Martinez. And pitcher CC Sabathia. From the Detroit Tigers, shortstop Carlos Guillen. From the Kansas City Royals, first baseman Ken Harvey. From the Minnesota Twins, pitcher Joe Nathan. From the New York Yankees, outfielder Gary Sheffield. Pitcher Javier Vasquez. Pitcher Tom Gordon. Pitcher Mariano Rivera. Outfielder Hideki Matsui. From the Oakland Athletics, pitcher Tim Hudson. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, outfielder Carl Crawford. From the Texas Rangers, third baseman Hank Blaylock. Shortstop Michael Young. Pitcher Francisco Cordero. And pitcher Kenny Rogers. From the Toronto Blue Jays, pitcher Ted Lilly. Now let's meet the National League All-Star reserves and coaches. First, the coaches. From the Colorado Rockies, manager Clint Hurdle. From your Houston Astros, manager Jimmy Williams. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitcher Randy Johnson. From the Atlanta Braves, catcher Johnny Estrada. From the Chicago Cubs, outfielder Moises Alou. And pitcher Carlos Zambrano. From the Cincinnati Reds, shortstop Barry Larkin. First baseman Sean Casey. Pitcher Danny Graves. From the Colorado Rockies, first baseman Todd Helton. From the Florida Marlins, third baseman Mike Lowell. Outfielder Miguel Cabrera. Pitcher Carl Pavano. And pitcher Armando Benitez. From the Houston Astros, outfielder Carlos Beltran. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, catcher Paul Loduca. And pitcher Eric Gagne. From the Milwaukee Brewers, pitcher Ben Sheets. And pitcher Danny Cole. From the Montreal Expos, pitcher Livan Hernandez. From the New York Mets, pitcher Tom Glavine. From the Philadelphia Phillies, first baseman Jim Thome. and outfielder Bobby Abreu. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, shortstop Jack Wilson. From the San Diego Padres, second baseman Mark Loretta. And from the San Francisco Giants, pitcher Jason Schmidt. Now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. First, the manager from the New York Yankees, Joe Torre. And now emerging from above the third base dugout, the starting lineup for the American League All-Star team. Leading off from the Seattle Mariners, center fielder Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second from the Detroit Tigers in the bullpen, catcher Ivan Rodriguez. Batting third from the Anaheim Angels, right fielder Vladimir Guerrero. Batting fourth from the Boston Red Sox, left fielder Manny Ramirez. Batting fifth from the New York Yankees, third baseman Alex Rodriguez. Batting sixth from the New York Yankees, first baseman Jason Giambi. Batting seventh from the New York Yankees, shortstop Derek Jeter. Batting eighth from the Texas Rangers, second baseman Alfonso Soriano. And batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen from the Oakland A's, pitcher Mark Mulder. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2004 American League All-Stars. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. First, the manager from the Florida Marlins, Jack McKeon. And now emerging from above the dugout, the starting lineup for the National League All-Star team. Leading off from the St. Louis Cardinals, shortstop Edgar Renteria. Batting second from the St. Louis Cardinals, first baseman Albert Pujols. Batting third from the San Francisco Giants, left fielder Barry Bonds. Batting fourth from the St. Louis Cardinals, third baseman Scott Rowland. Batting fifth from the Chicago Cubs, right fielder Sammy Sosa. Batting sixth from the New York Mets, catcher Mike Piazza. Batting seventh, come on, let's hear it, from your Houston Astros, center fielder Lance Berkman. Batting eighth from your Houston Astros, second baseman Jeff Kent. ladies and gentlemen, batting ninth and warming up in the bullpen from your Houston Astros pitcher, Roger Clemens. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2004 National League All-Stars. Okay, here we go. First, the National League coaches and reserves. From the Milwaukee Brewers, manager Ned Yost. From the San Francisco Giants, manager Felipe Alou. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, outfielder Luis Gonzalez. From the Atlanta Braves, outfielder Andrew Jones. And pitcher and Michigan native John Smoltz. From the Cincinnati Reds, shortstop Felipe Lopez. From the Colorado Rockies, pitcher Brian Fuentes. From the Florida Marlins, second baseman Luis Castillo. Catcher Paul Loduca. Outfielder Miguel Cabrera. And pitcher Dontrelle Willis. From the Houston Astros, third baseman Morgan Ensberg. Pitcher Roger Clemens. Pitcher Roy Oswalt. And pitcher Brad Lidge. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, shortstop Cesar Izturis. From the Milwaukee Brewers, outfielder Carlos Lee. From the Philadelphia Phillies, shortstop Jimmy Rollins. And pitcher Billy Wagner. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, outfielder Jason Bay. From the St. Louis Cardinals, pitcher Jason Isringhausen. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Jake Peavy. From the San Francisco Giants, outfielder Moises Alou. And from the Washington Nationals, pitcher Chad Cordero. And pitcher Levon Hernandez. Now let's meet the American League All-Star reserves and coaches. From your Detroit Tigers, manager Alan Trammell. From the Oakland A's, manager Ken Maka. And now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, third baseman Melvin Mora. Pitcher B.J. Ryan. From the Boston Red Sox, pitcher Matt Clement. From the Chicago White Sox, first baseman Paul Konerko. Pitcher John Garland. And outfielder Scott Podsednik. From the Cleveland Indians, pitcher Bob Wickman. From your Detroit Tigers, catcher Ivan Rodriguez. From the Kansas City Royals, first baseman Mike Sweeney. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, outfielder Garrett Anderson. Pitcher Bartolo Colon. From the Minnesota Twins, pitcher Joe Nathan. And pitcher Johan Santana. From the New York Yankees, outfielder Gary Sheffield. And pitcher Mariano Rivera. From the Oakland Athletics, pitcher Justin Duchscherer. From the Seattle Mariners, outfielder Ichiro Suzuki. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, pitcher Danny Baez. From the Texas Rangers, shortstop Michael Young. Second baseman Alfonso Soriano. And pitcher Kenny Rogers. From the Toronto Blue Jays, first baseman Shea Hillenbrand. Now entering the field from the tunnel behind home plate, let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2004 National League champion St. Louis Cardinals, Tony La Russa. Leading off from the Philadelphia Phillies, what a night last night, right fielder Bobby Abreu. Batting second from the New York Mets, left fielder Carlos Beltran. Batting third from the St. Louis Cardinals, the designated hitter, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth from the Chicago Cubs, first baseman, Derek Lee. Batting fifth from the St. Louis Cardinals, center fielder Jim Edmonds. Batting sixth from the Chicago Cubs, third baseman Aramis Ramirez. Batting seventh from the New York Mets, out in the bullpen, catcher Mike Piazza. Batting eighth from the Los Angeles Dodgers, second baseman Jeff Kent. Batting ninth from the St. Louis Cardinals, shortstop David Eckstein. And warming up in the bullpen from the St. Louis Cardinals, pitcher Chris Carpenter. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2005 National League All-Stars. Now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2004 World Series champion Boston Red Sox, Terry Francona. Leading off from the Boston Red Sox, center fielder Johnny Damon. Batting second from the New York Yankees, third baseman Alex Rodriguez. Batting third from the Boston Red Sox, the designated hitter, David Ortiz. Batting fourth from the Boston Red Sox, left fielder Manny Ramirez. Batting fifth from the Baltimore Orioles, shortstop Miguel Tejada. Batting sixth from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, right fielder Vladimir Guerrero. Batting seventh from the Texas Rangers, first baseman Mark Teixeira. Batting eighth in the bullpen from the Boston Red Sox, catcher Jason Varitek. And batting ninth from the Baltimore Orioles, second baseman Brian Roberts. Warming up in the bullpen from the Chicago White Sox, starting pitcher Mark Buehrle. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your 2005 American League All-Stars.
To meet the 2006 All-Stars. First, representing the American League, the coaches from the Cleveland Indians, Eric Wedge. From the Toronto Blue Jays, John Gibbons. And now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, infielder Miguel Tejada. From the Boston Red Sox, pitcher Jonathan Papelbon. From the Chicago White Sox, catcher A.J. Pierzynski. Infielder Paul Konerko. Outfielder Jermaine Dye. Infielder Jim Thome. Pitcher Bobby Jenks. Pitcher Jose Contreras. And pitcher Mark Buehrle. From the Cleveland Indians, outfielder Grady Sizemore. From the Detroit Tigers, outfielder Maglio Ordonez. From the Kansas City Royals, pitcher Mark Redmond. From the Minnesota Twins, catcher Joe Mauer. Pitcher Francisco Liriano. Pitcher Johan Santana. From the New York Yankees, infielder Robinson Cano. Pitcher Mariano Rivera. From the Oakland Athletics, pitcher Barry Zito. From the Seattle Mariners, infielder Jose Lopez. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, pitcher Scott Kazmir. From the Texas Rangers, infielder Michael Young. Outfielder Gary Matthews Jr. From the Toronto Blue Jays, outfielder Alex Rios. Infielder Troy Gloss. Pitcher Roy Halladay. And pitcher B.J. Ryan. And now representing the National League. First, the coaches from the Cincinnati Reds, Jerry Narron. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jim Tracy. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, pitcher Brandon Webb. From the Atlanta Braves, catcher Brian McCann. Outfielder Andrew Jones. From the Chicago Cubs, pitcher Carlos Zambrano. From the Cincinnati Reds, pitcher Bronson Arroyo. From the Colorado Rockies, outfielder Matt Holliday. Pitcher Brian Fuentes. From the Florida Marlins, infielder Dan Uggla. Infielder Miguel Cabrera. From the Houston Astros, outfielder Lance Berkman. Pitcher Roy Oswalt. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, infielder Nomar Garciaparra. From the Milwaukee Brewers, pitcher Chris Capuano. Outfielder Carlos Lee. Pitcher Derek Turnbow. From the New York Mets, elected to start but unable to due to injury, infielder Jose Reyes. And pitcher Tom Glavine. From the Philadelphia Phillies, home run derby champ, infielder Ryan Howard. And pitcher Tom Gordon. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, infielder Freddie Sanchez. From the St. Louis Cardinals, infielder David Eckstein. Infielder Scott Rowland. And pitcher Chris Carpenter. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Trevor Hoffman. From the San Francisco Giants, pitcher Jason Schmidt. All right, let's go. Let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2005 World Series champion Chicago White Sox, Ozzie Guillen. And now, batting first and playing right field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Batting third and playing first base from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting fourth and playing third base from the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. Batting fifth and playing left field from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Vladimir Guerrero. Batting sixth and catching out in the bullpen from the Detroit Tigers, Ivan Rodriguez. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Toronto Blue Jays, Vernon Wells. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Boston Red Sox, Mark Loretta. And warming up, batting ninth and pitching from the Detroit Tigers, Kenny Rogers. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2005 National League champion Houston Astros, Phil Garner. Batting first and playing left field from the Washington Nationals, Alfonso Soriano. Batting second and playing center field from the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran. Batting third and playing first base from the St. Louis Cardinals, Albert Pujols. Here he is, batting fourth, playing right field from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jason Bay. Batting fifth and playing shortstop from the Atlanta Braves, Edgar Renteria. Batting sixth and playing third base from the New York Mets, David Wright. Batting seventh and playing second base from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. Batting eighth and catching from the New York Mets, out in the bullpen, Paul Lo Duca. And warming up in the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Brad Penning.
Now let's meet the American League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From the Minnesota Twins, manager Ron Gardenhire. From the Texas Rangers, manager Ron Washington. From the Detroit Tigers, Lloyd McClendon. Rafael Belliard. Andy Van Slyke. Gene Lamont. Jeff Jones. And Chuck Hernandez. And now the American League reserves. From the Baltimore Orioles, infielder Brian Roberts. From the Boston Red Sox, pitcher Josh Beckett. Outfielder Manny Ramirez. Infielder Mike Lowell. Pitcher Hideki Okajima. And pitcher Jonathan Papelbon. From the Chicago White Sox, pitcher Bobby Jenks. From the Cleveland Indians, outfielder Grady Sizemore. Catcher Victor Martinez. And pitcher CC Sabathia. From the Detroit Tigers, infielder Carlos Guillen. Pitcher Justin Verlander. From the Kansas City Royals, pitcher Gil Mesh. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, pitcher John Lackey. Pitcher Francisco Rodriguez. From the Minnesota Twins, infielder Justin Morneau. Outfielder Torrey Hunter. And pitcher Johan Santana. From the New York Yankees, catcher Jorge Posada. From the Seattle Mariners, pitcher J.J. Putz. From the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, outfielder Carl Crawford. From the Texas Rangers, infielder Michael Young. From the Toronto Blue Jays, outfielder Alex Rios. And now the National League All-Star reserves. Now let's meet your National League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From the Florida Marlins, Freddie Gonzalez. From the San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Joe Patini. Pitching coach, Dave Duncan. Marty Mason. And Dave McKay. Out in the bullpen, Jeff Murphy. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, infielder Orlando Hudson. Pitcher Brandon Webb. Pitcher Jose Valverde. From the Atlanta Braves, catcher Brian McCann. From the Chicago Cubs, outfielder Alfonso Soriano. Infielder Derek Lee. From the Colorado Rockies, outfielder Matt Holliday. And pitcher Brian Fuentes. From the Florida Marlins, infielder Miguel Cabrera. From the Houston Astros, pitcher Roy Oswalt. Outfielder Carlos Lee. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, pitcher Brad Penny. And pitcher Takashi Saito. From the Milwaukee Brewers, shortstop J.J. Hardy. Pitcher Ben Sheets. Pitcher Francisco Cordero. From the New York Mets, pitcher Billy Wagner. From the Philadelphia Phillies, outfielder Aaron Rowan. And pitcher Cole Hamels. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, infielder Freddie Sanchez. From the St. Louis Cardinals, infielder Albert Pujols. From the San Diego Padres, pitcher Chris Young. And pitcher Trevor Hoffman. From the Washington Nationals, infielder Dimitri Young. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager, from the 2006 American League champion Detroit Tigers, Jim Leyland. Batting first and playing center field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Batting third and playing first base from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting fourth and playing third base from the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. Batting fifth and playing right field from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Vladimir Guerrero. Batting sixth and playing left field from the Detroit Tigers, Maglio Ordonez. Batting seventh and playing catcher from the Detroit Tigers, Ivan Rodriguez. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Detroit Tigers, Placido Polanco. And warming up in the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the Oakland Athletics, Dan Haren. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2007 American League All-Stars. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2006 World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals, Tony La Russa. Leading off and playing shortstop from the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. Here you go, San Francisco. Batting second and playing left field from the San Francisco Giants, Barry Bonds. Third and playing center field from the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran. Batting fourth and playing right field from the Cincinnati Reds, Ken Griffey Jr. Batting fifth and playing third base from the New York Mets, David Wright. Batting sixth and playing first base from the Milwaukee Brewers, Prince Fielder. Batting seventh and catching from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Russell Martin. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. Pitching and batting ninth from the San Diego Padres, Jake Peavy. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2007 National League All-Stars. And now, Let's meet the best of the senior circuit, the National League All-Stars. First, the coaches. From the Chicago Cubs, Lou Piniella. From the San Diego Padres, Bud Black. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Dan Haren and Brandon Webb. From the Atlanta Braves, Brian McCann. From the Chicago Cubs, Alfonso Soriano. Aramis Ramirez. Kerry Wood. Carlos Zambrano. Ryan Dempster. And Carlos Marmol. From the Cincinnati Reds, Edinson Volquez. From the Colorado Rockies, Aaron Cook. From the Florida Marlins, Dan Uggla. From the Houston Astros, Miguel Tejada. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Russell Martin. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Corey Hart. From the New York Mets, David Wright. And Billy Wagner. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Brad Lidge. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Nate McLouth. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Ryan Ludwig. From the San Diego Padres, Adrian Gonzalez. From the San Francisco Giants, Brian Wilson. From the Washington Nationals, Christian Guzman. And now let's meet the American League All-Star team. The coaches from the Detroit Tigers, Jim Leyland. From the New York Yankees, Joe Girardi. And now the players from the Baltimore Orioles, George Sherrill. From the Boston Red Sox, J.D. Drew. Jason Varitek. David Ortiz. And Jonathan Papelbon. From the Chicago White Sox, Carlos Quentin. And Joe Crede. From the Cleveland Indians, Grady Sizemore. From the Detroit Tigers, Carlos Guillen. From the Kansas City Royals, Joakim Soria. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Joe Saunders. Irvin Santana. And Francisco Rodriguez. From the Minnesota Twins, Justin Morneau. And Joe Nathan. From the Oakland Athletics, Justin Duckshire. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Evan Longoria. Scott Kazmir. And Dioner Navarro. From the Texas Rangers, Ian Kinsler. And Michael Young. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Roy Halladay. And from the New York Yankees, Mariano Rivera. There's so many unforgettable evenings at Yankee Stadium. We are almost set to meet the 2008 National League and American League starters. But on this spectacular night in the Bronx, your All-Stars receive a unique honor guard. As today's best take their positions, they will be joined by the living immortals of Cooperstown. It is only fitting that 49 Hall of Famers congregate tonight at this cathedral of baseball and take center stage at this final All-Star Game celebration in Yankee Stadium. First, as always, we hand the ball to the pitchers. Each one an ace, every one a Hall of Famer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Steve Carlton. Dennis Eckersley. Bob Feller. Raleigh Fingers. Bob Gibson. Ferguson Jenkins. Juan Marichal. Phil Niekro. Jim Palmer. Gaylord Perry. Robin Roberts. Bruce Sutter. Don Sutton. Goose Gossage. And Whitey Ford. And now the starting pitcher for the National League from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ben Sheets. And the starting pitcher for the American League from the Cleveland Indians, Cliff Lee. Now we head around the horn. At first base, a quintet of legends. Orlando Cepeda. Harmon Killebrew. Eddie Murray. Tony Perez. And Willie McCovey. They are joined by tonight's starting first baseman. For the National League, from the Houston Astros, Lance Berkman. And for the American League, from the Boston Red Sox, Kevin Youkilis. We continue and move to second base. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rod Carew. Bill Mazeroski. And Ryne Sandberg. Joining them are tonight's starting second baseman. For the National League, from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. And for the American League, from the Boston Red Sox, Dustin Pedroia. Now we head over to the hot corner and some of the game's greatest third basemen. Brooks Robinson. Mike Schmidt. George Brett. And Wade Boggs. They are joined by tonight's starting third baseman. For the National League, from the Atlanta Braves, Chipper Jones. For the American League, from the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. And now to the shortstop position. Home here in Yankee Stadium to the late, great Scooter, Phil Rizzuto. Tonight, we hail these greats. Louis Aparicio. Ozzie Smith. Robin Yount. Ernie Banks. And Cal Ripken Jr. Joining them are tonight's starting shortstops for the National League from the Florida Marlins, Hanley Ramirez. And for the American League, from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Next up, we go out by second base, where he hits so many career doubles. Please welcome Hall of Fame designated hitter Paul Molitor. He is joined by tonight's starting DHs for the National League from the St. Louis Cardinals, Albert Pujols. And for the American League from the Texas Rangers, Milton Bradley. And now we turn our attention to the greats who patrol the outfield. In left, a trio of Hall of Famers. Lou Brock. Billy Williams. And Ralph Kiner. Joining them are tonight's starting left fielders for the National League from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. And for the American League from the Boston Red Sox, Manny Ramirez. Covering that wide swath of acreage in center field, one of the true giants of baseball. Willie Mays. He is joined by tonight's starting center fielders for the National League from the Chicago Cubs, Kosuke Fukudome. And for the American League from the Texas Rangers, a hero last night in the Derby, Josh Hamilton. And now we move to right field and more legends of the outfield. Tony Gwynn. Al Kaline. Frank Robinson. Dave Winfield. Hank Aaron. And Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. Joining them are tonight's starting right fielders. For the National League, from the Colorado Rockies, Matt Holliday. And for the American League, from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. From the best in the outfield, we turn to the best in the dugout. Behind home plate, please welcome a trio of Hall of Fame managers. Earl Weaver. Tommy Lasorda. And Dick Williams. And representing the best of baseball's front office personnel, they are joined by Hall of Fame executive Lee MacPhail. They are joined by tonight's all-star managers. The National League manager from the 2007 National League champion Colorado Rockies, Clint Hurdle. And the American League manager from the 2007 World Series champion Boston Red Sox, Terry Francona. And we stay at home plate to recognize some of the game's great catchers. Please welcome the starting catchers for the National League. From the Chicago Cubs, Giovanni Soto. And for the American League, from the Minnesota Twins, Joe Mauer. Joining them behind home plate tonight, a couple of Hall of Fame catchers. Gary Carter. Yogi Berra. Ladies and gentlemen, this majestic ballpark has provided the backdrop for many great baseball moments. But tonight is a first, even for this grand arena. It is my privilege to present to you, here in the house that Ruth built, Yankee Stadium, the greatest collection of baseball's all-stars ever assembled on one field. Meet the American League All-Star Team. The coaches. From the Kansas City Royals, Trey Hillman. From the Seattle Mariners, Don Wakamatsu. And now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones. From the Boston Red Sox, Josh Beckett. Kevin Youkilis. Tim Wakefield. And Jonathan Papelbon. From the Chicago White Sox, Mark Buehrle. From the Cleveland Indians, Victor Martinez. From the Detroit Tigers, Brandon Inge. Curtis Granderson, Justin Verlander, and Edwin Jackson. From the Kansas City Royals, Zach Greinke. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Sean Figgins and Brian Fuentes. From the Minnesota Twins, Justin Morneau and Joan Nathan. From the New York Yankees, Mariano Rivera. From the Oakland Athletics, Andrew Bailey. From the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Evan Longoria. Jason Bartlett. Carl Crawford. Ben Zobrist. And Carlos Pena. From the Texas Rangers, Nelson Cruz. Now let's meet the National League All-Stars. First, the coaches. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Joe Torre. And from the St. Louis Cardinals, Tony La Russa. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Justin Upton and Dan Haren. From the Atlanta Braves, Brian McCann. From the Chicago Cubs, Ted Lilly. From the Cincinnati Reds, Francisco Cordero. From the Colorado Rockies, Brad Hopp and Jason Marquis. From the Florida Marlins, Josh Johnson. From the Houston Astros, Hunter Pence and Miguel Tejada. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Orlando Hudson. Jonathan Broxton and Chad Billingsley. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Prince Fielder and Trevor Hoffman. From the New York Mets, Johan Santana and Francisco Rodriguez. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Ryan Howard. And Jason Worth. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Freddie Sanchez and Zach Duke. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Ryan Franklin. From the San Diego Padres, Heath Bell and Adrian Gonzalez. From the San Francisco Giants, Matt Cain. From the Washington Nationals, Ryan Zimmerman. Let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2008 American League champion Tampa Bay Rays, Joe Maddon. Batting first and playing right field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Batting third and catching from the Minnesota Twins, Joe Mauer. Batting fourth and playing first base from the New York Yankees, Mark Teixeira. Batting fifth and playing left field from the Boston Red Sox, Jason Bay. Batting sixth and playing center field from the Texas Rangers, Josh Hamilton. Batting seventh and playing third base from the Texas Rangers, Michael Young. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Toronto Blue Jays, Aaron Hill. And warming up in the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the Toronto Blue Jays, Roy Halladay. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2008 World Series champion Philadelphia Phillies, Charlie Manuel. Leading off and playing shortstop from the Florida Marlins, Hanley Ramirez. Batting second, playing second base from the Philadelphia Phillies, Chase Utley. Here we go, St. Louis, batting third and playing first base from the St. Louis Cardinals, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth and playing right field from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. Batting fifth and playing left field from the Philadelphia Phillies, Raul Ibanez. Batting sixth and playing third base from the New York Mets, David Wright. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Philadelphia Phillies, Shane Victorino. And batting eighth, catching from the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. And entering the bullpen, batting ninth and pitching from the San Francisco Giants, Tim Lincecum. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2009 American League and National League, the National League All-Star team. The coaches from the San Diego Padres, Bud Black. And from the San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy. And now the players from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Chris Young. From the Atlanta Braves, Omar Infante. Tim Hudson. Brian McCann, and Jason Hayward. From the Chicago Cubs, Marlon Byrd. From the Cincinnati Reds, Brandon Phillips, Joey Votto, Scott Rowland, and Arthur Rhodes. From the Colorado Rockies, Troy Tulowitzki. From the Florida Marlins, Josh Johnson. From the Houston Astros, Michael Bourne. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Rafael Furcal. Jonathan Broxton. And Hong-Chi Kuo. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Giovanni Gallardo. From the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Roy Halladay. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Evan Meek. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Holliday. Chris Carpenter. And Adam Wainwright. From the San Diego Padres, Heath Bell. And Adrian Gonzalez. From the San Francisco Giants, Brian Wilson. And Tim Lincecum. From the Washington Nationals, Matt Capps. Now let's meet the American League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From your Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Mike Scioscia. From the Oakland A's, Bob Guerin. Now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, Ty Wigginton. From the Boston Red Sox, Clay Buchholz. Dustin Pedroia. Adrian Beltre. John Lester. David Ortiz. And Victor Martinez. From the Chicago White Sox, Paul Konerko. And Matt Thornton. From the Cleveland Indians, Fausto Carmona. From the Detroit Tigers, Justin Verlander. And Jose Valverde. From the Kansas City Royals, Joakim Soria. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Jared Weaver. And Torii Hunter. From the New York Yankees, Alex Rodriguez. Nick Swisher. Andy Pettitte. CC Sabathia. And Phil Hughes. From the Oakland Athletics, Andrew Bailey. And Trevor Cahill. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Rafael Soriano. From the Texas Rangers, Elvis Andrus. Ian Kinsler. Neftali Feliz. And Cliff Lee. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Vernon Wells. John Buck. And Jose Bautista. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2009 National League champion, Philadelphia Phillies, Charlie Manuel. Leading off and playing shortstop from the Florida Marlins, Hanley Ramirez. Batting second and playing second base from the Atlanta Braves, Martin Prado. Batting third and playing first base from the St. Louis Cardinals, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth, the designated hitter from the Philadelphia Phillies, Ryan Howard. Batting fifth and playing third base from the New York Mets, David Wright. Batting sixth and playing left field from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Andre Ethier. Batting eighth and playing right field from the Milwaukee Brewers, Corey Hart. Batting ninth and catching from the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. And in the dugout, pitching tonight's game for the National League from the Colorado Rockies, Ubaldo Jimenez. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2009 World Series champion New York Yankees, Joe Girardi. Leading off and playing right field from the Seattle Mariners, Ichiro Suzuki. Batting second and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Batting third and playing first base from the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. Batting fourth and playing center field from the Texas Rangers, Josh Hamilton. Batting fifth, the designated hitter from the Texas Rangers, Vladimir Guerrero. Batting sixth and playing third base from the Tampa Bay Rays, Evan Longoria. Batting 7th and catching from the Minnesota Twins, Joe Mauer. Batting 8th and playing second base from the New York Yankees, Robinson Cano. Batting 9th and playing left field from the Tampa Bay Rays, Carl Crawford. And the starting pitcher for the American League, warming up in the bullpen from the Tampa Bay Rays, David Price. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2010 American League and National League All-Stars.
The coaches from the Cleveland Indians, Manny Acta. From the Toronto Blue Jays, John Farrell. And now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, Matt Wieters. From the Boston Red Sox, Jacoby Ellsbury. Josh Beckett. Kevin Youkilis. And John Lester. From the Chicago White Sox, Paul Konerko. Carlos Quentin. From the Cleveland Indians, Chris Perez. From the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. Or we could go with Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. Shortstop, Johnny Peralta. And pitcher, Justin Verlander. And closer, Jose Valverde. From the Kansas City Royals, Aaron Crow. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Howie Kendrick. Jordan Walden. From the Minnesota Twins, Michael Kadire. From the New York Yankees, David Robertson. Russell Martin. From the Oakland Athletics, pitcher Gio Gonzalez. And now, from the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. Michael Pineda. And Brandon League. From the Tampa Bay Rays, pitcher David Price. Matt Joyce. And James Shields. From the Texas Rangers, Michael Young. C.J. Wilson. And Alexi Ogando. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Ricky Romero. And now let's meet the National League All-Star team. Let's let them hear it. The coaches from your Arizona Diamondbacks, Kirk Gibson. And from the Chicago Cubs, Mike Quade. And now the players from your Arizona Diamondbacks, Justin Upton. Miguel Montero. From the Atlanta Braves, Johnny Venters. Craig Kimbrell. And Jair Jurgens. From the Chicago Cubs, Starlin Castro. From the Cincinnati Reds, Brandon Phillips. Joey Votto. And Jay Bruce. From the Florida Marlins, Gabby Sanchez. From the Houston Astros, Hunter Pence. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Andre Ethier. And Clayton Kershaw. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. From the New York Mets, Jose Reyes. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Shane Victorino. Placido Polanco. Cliff Lee. And Cole Hamels. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutchen. Kevin Correa. And Joel Hanrahan. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. From the San Diego Padres, Heath Bell. From the San Francisco Giants, Matt Cain. Ryan Vogelsong. Brian Wilson. Pablo Sandoval. And Tim Lincecum. From the Washington Nationals, Tyler Clippard. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2010 American League champion Texas Rangers, Ron Washington. Leading off and playing center field from the New York Yankees, Curtis Granderson. Batting second and playing shortstop from the Cleveland Indians, Asdrubal Cabrera. Batting third and playing first base from the Boston Red Sox, Adrian Gonzalez. Batting fourth and playing right field from the Toronto Blue Jays, Jose Bautista. Batting fifth, playing left field from the Texas Rangers, Josh Hamilton. Batting sixth and playing third base from the Texas Rangers, Adrian Beltre. Batting seventh, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting eighth and playing second base from the New York Yankees, Robinson Cano. Batting ninth and catching down in the bullpen from the Tigers, Alex Avila. And the starting pitcher down in the bullpen from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Jared Weaver. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2010 World Series champion San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy.
Good luck, man. How we doing, Gonzo?
Leading off and playing second base from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ricky Woods. Batting second, the designated hitter from the New York Mets, Carlos Beltran. Batting third and playing center field from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Matt Kemp. Batting fourth and playing first base from the Milwaukee Brewers, Prince Fielder. Batting fifth and catching from the Atlanta Braves, Brian McCann. Batting sixth and playing right field from the St. Louis Cardinals, Lance Berkman. Batting seventh, playing left field from the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Holliday. Batting eighth and playing shortstop from the Colorado Rockies, Troy Tulowitzki. Batting ninth, playing third base from the Cincinnati Reds, Scott Rowland. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Philadelphia Phillies, Roy Halladay. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2011 American League and National League All-Stars.
And now let's meet the National League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Ron Roenicke. From the New York Mets, Terry Collins. Now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Wade Miley. From the Atlanta Braves, Chipper Jones. Michael Bourne. And Craig Kimbrell. From the Chicago Cubs, Brian LaHair. And Starlin Castro. From the Cincinnati Reds, Jay Bruce. And Aroldis Chapman. From the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw. And Matt Kemp. From the New York Mets, David Wright. And R.A. Dickey. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Cole Hamels. Carlos Ruiz. And Jonathan Papelbon. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutcheon. And Joel Hanrahan. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Holliday. David Freese. And Lance Lynn. From the San Diego Padres, Houston Street. From the Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. Steven Strasburg. And Gio Gonzalez. Now let's meet the American League All-Star team. First, the coaches. From your Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost. And from the Oakland Athletics, Bob Melvin. Now the players. From the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones. Matt Wieters. And Jim Johnson. From the Chicago White Sox, Paul Konerko. Adam Dunn. Jake Peavy. And Chris Sale. From the Cleveland Indians, Asdrubal Cabrera. And Chris Perez. From the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. From your Kansas City Royals, Billy Butler. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Mike Trout. C.J. Wilson. Jared Weaver. And Mark Trumbo. From the Minnesota Twins, Joe Mauer. From the New York Yankees, C.C. Sabathia. From the Oakland Athletics, Ryan Cook. From the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. From the Tampa Bay Rays, David Price. Fernando Rodney. From the Texas Rangers, Elvis Andrus. Ian Kinsler. Yu Darvish. Joe Nathan. And Matt Harrison. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager of the 2011 World Series champion St. Louis Cardinals, Tony La Russa. Leading off, the designated hitter from the Colorado Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez. Batting second, the center fielder from the San Francisco Giants, Melky Cabrera. Batting third and playing left field from the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. Batting fourth and playing first base from the Cincinnati Reds, Jody Votto. Batting fifth and playing right field from the St. Louis Cardinals, Carlos Beltran. Batting sixth, the catcher from the San Francisco Giants, Buster Posey. Batting seventh, playing third base from the San Francisco Giants, Pablo Sandoval. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Atlanta Braves, Dan Uggla. Batting ninth and playing shortstop from the St. Louis Cardinals, Rafael Furcal. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the San Francisco Giants, Matt Cain. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the back-to-back American League champion Texas Rangers, Ron Washington. Leading off and playing shortstop from the New York Yankees, Derek Jeter. Second and playing second base from the New York Yankees, Robinson Cano. Batting third and playing left field from the Texas Rangers, Josh Hamilton. Batting fourth and playing right field from the Toronto Blue Jays, Jose Bautista. Batting fifth, the first baseman from the Detroit Tigers, Prince Fielder. Batting sixth and playing third base from the Texas Rangers, Adrian Beltre. Batting seventh, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting eighth and catching from the Texas Rangers, Mike Napoli. Batting ninth and playing center field from the New York Yankees, Curtis Granderson. The starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Detroit Tigers, Justin Verlander. The coaches from the Chicago White Sox, Robin Ventura. And from the Toronto Blue Jays, John Gibbons. Now the players from the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado and Chris Tillman. From the Boston Red Sox, Clay Buchholz and Dustin Pedroia. From the Chicago White Sox, Jesse Crain and Chris Sale. From the Cleveland Indians, Jason Kipnis and Justin Masterson. From the Detroit Tigers, Johnny Peralta, Prince Fielder, Justin Verlander, and Torrey Hunter. From the Houston Astros, Jason Castro. From the Kansas City Royals, Alex Gordon, Salvador Perez, and Greg Holland. From the Minnesota Twins, Glenn Perkins. From the New York Yankees, Mariano Rivera.
From the Oakland Athletics, Bartolo Colon and Grant Balfour. From the Seattle Mariners, Hisashi Iwakuma and Felix Hernandez. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Ben Zobrist and Matt Moore. From the Texas Rangers, Yu Darvish, Nelson Cruz, and Joe Nathan. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Edwin Encarnacion, Brett Cecil, and Steve Delabar. And now let's meet the National League All-Star team. The coaches from your New York Mets, Terry Collins. And from the Washington Nationals, Davey Johnson. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Paul Goldschmidt and Patrick Corbin. From the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman, Brian McCann, and Craig Kimbrell. From the Chicago Cubs, Travis Wood. From the Cincinnati Reds, Aroldis Chapman. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw. From the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Gene Segura and Carlos Gomez. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Dominic Brown and Cliff Lee. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutchen, Pedro Alvarez, Mark Melanson, Jason Grilli, and Jeff Locke. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Carpenter, Alan Craig, Edward Mujica, and Adam Wainwright. From the San Diego Padres, Everth Cabrera. From the San Francisco Giants, Marco Scutaro, Buster Posey, Madison Bumgarner, and Sergio Romo. From the Washington Nationals, Jordan Zimmerman. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2012 American League champion Detroit Tigers, Jim Leyland. Leading off and playing left field from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Mike Trout. Batting second, the second baseman from the New York Yankees, Robinson Cano. Batting third and playing third base from the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. Batting cleanup and playing first base from the Baltimore Orioles, Chris Davis. Batting fifth and playing right field from the Toronto Blue Jays, Jose Bautista. Batting sixth, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, David Ortiz. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones. Batting eighth, the catcher from the Minnesota Twins, Joe Mauer. Batting ninth and playing shortstop from the Baltimore Orioles, J.J. Hardy. And the starting pitcher, headed toward the bullpen from the Detroit Tigers, Max Scherzer. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2012 World Series champion San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy. Leading off and playing second base from the Cincinnati Reds, Brandon Phillips. Batting second and playing right field from the St. Louis Cardinals, Carlos Beltran. Batting third, the first baseman from the Cincinnati Reds, Joey Votto. Batting fourth and playing third base from your New York Mets, David Wright. Batting fifth and playing left field from the Colorado Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez. Batting sixth, the catcher from the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. Batting seventh, the shortstop from the Colorado Rockies, Troy Tulowitzki. Batting eighth, the designated hitter from the Colorado Rockies, Michael Cuddyer. And batting ninth, playing center field from the Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. And the starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen from your New York Mets, Matt Harvey. First, let's meet the American League All-Star team. The coaches from the Houston Astros, A.J. Hinch. And from the Seattle Mariners, Lloyd McClendon. And now the players. For the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. Zach Britton. And Darren O'Day. From the Boston Red Sox, Brock Holt. From the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale. From the Cleveland Indians, Jason Kipnis. From the Detroit Tigers, Jose Iglesias. David Price. And J.D. Martinez. From the Kansas City Royals, Mike Moustakas. Wade Davis. And Kelvin Herrera. From the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, Hector Santiago. From the Minnesota Twins, Brian Dozier. Glenn Parkins. From the New York Yankees, Brett Gardner. Mark Teixeira, and Dellin Betances. From the Oakland Athletics, Stephen Vogt and Sonny Gray. From the Seattle Mariners, Felix Hernandez. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Chris Archer and Brad Boxberger. From the Texas Rangers, Prince Fielder. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Russell Martin. Now let's meet the National League All-Star team. First, the coaches from your Cincinnati Reds, Brian Price. And from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Don Mattingly. And now the players. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, A.J. Pollock. From the Atlanta Braves, Shelby Miller. From the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant. From your Cincinnati Reds, Aroldis Chapman. From the Colorado Rockies, Troy Tulowitzki. And Nolan Arenado. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Yasmani Grandal. Clayton Kershaw. And Adrian Gonzalez. From the Miami Marlins, Dee Gordon. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Ryan Braun. Francisco Rodriguez. Now from the New York Mets, Jacob deGrom. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Jonathan Papelbon. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, A.J. Burnett. Mark Melancon. And Garrett Cole. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. He's got the best smile of the night. Come on, give it to him. Matt Holliday. Carlos Martinez. Trevor Rosenthal. And Michael Wacha. From the San Diego Padres, Justin Upton. From the San Francisco Giants, Joe Panik. Brandon Crawford. And Madison Bumgarner. From the Washington Nationals, Max Scherzer. And now let's meet the American League manager in the starting lineup. The manager from the 2014 American League champion Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost. Leading off and playing center field from the Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. Batting second from the Toronto Blue Jays, third baseman Josh Donaldson. Batting third, the first baseman from the Los Angeles Angels, Albert Pujols. Batting fourth, the designated hitter from the Seattle Mariners, Nelson Cruz. Batting fifth and playing right field from the Kansas City Royals, Lorenzo Cain. Batting sixth and playing left field from the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones. Batting seventh, the catcher from the Kansas City Royals, out in the bullpen, Salvador Perez. Batting eighth and playing second base from the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. Batting ninth, the shortstop from the Kansas City Royals, Alcides Escobar. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Houston Astros, Dallas Keuchel. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2014 World Series champion San Francisco Giants, Bruce Bochy. Leading off, the center fielder from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Andrew McCutchen. Batting second and playing third base, and the home run derby champion, and from your Cincinnati Reds, Todd Frazier. Batting third, playing right field for the Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. Batting cleanup and playing first base from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Paul Goldschmidt. Batting fifth, the catcher from the San Francisco Giants, Buster Posey. Batting sixth, the designated hitter from the Chicago Cubs, Anthony Rizzo. Batting seventh, the shortstop from the St. Louis Cardinals, Johnny Peralta. Batting eighth and playing left field from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Jock Peterson. Batting ninth and playing second base from the Colorado Rockies, DJ LeMahieu. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Zach Greinke. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2015 American League and National League All-Stars. First, named to the coaching staff from your San Diego Padres, Andy Green. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Paul Goldschmidt. From the Atlanta Braves, Julio Teheran. From the Chicago Cubs, Dexter Fowler. John Lester. And Jake Arrieta. From the Cincinnati Reds, Adam Duvall. And Jay Bruce. From the Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Corey Seager. Clayton Kershaw. Embrace it. And Kenley Jansen. From the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez. AJ Ramos. And Fernando Rodney. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Jonathan Lucroy. From the New York Mets, Jeurys Familia. Noah Syndergaard, and Bartolo Colon. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Odubel Herrera. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Starling Marte and Mark Melancon. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Matt Carpenter and Aledmys Diaz. From your San Diego Padres, Joe Pomeranz. From the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Belt and Madison Bumgarner. From the Washington Nationals, Daniel Murphy, Max Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, and Wilson Ramos. And now let's meet the American League All-Star team. From the Baltimore Orioles, Matt Wieters, Brad Brock, Mark Trumbo, and Zach Britton. From the Boston Red Sox, Stephen Wright. From the Chicago White Sox, Jose Quintana. From the Cleveland Indians, Francisco Lindor, Corey Kluber, and Danny Salazar. From the Detroit Tigers, Miguel Cabrera. From the Houston Astros, Will Harris. From the Kansas City Royals, Kelvin Herrera. From the Minnesota Twins, Eduardo Nunez. From the New York Yankees, Carlos Beltran. Andrew Miller. And Dellin Betances. From the Oakland Athletics, Stephen Vogt. From the Seattle Mariners, Robinson Cano. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Alex Colomé. From the Texas Rangers, Ian Desmond. And Cole Hamels. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Edwin Encarnacion. Josh Donaldson. Michael Saunders. Marco Estrada. And Aaron Sanchez. And now to help us welcome tonight's starting lineups are kids representing Major League Baseball's Play Ball Initiative and MasterCard's All-Star Youth Ambassadors Program. For every fan watching live, this year's All-Star Game will be an amazing experience, but for 22 of them, MasterCard is truly making it priceless. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2015 National League champion New York Mets, Terry Collins. Leading off and playing second base from the Chicago Cubs, Ben Zobrist. Batting second, the right fielder from the Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. Batting third, playing third base from the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant. All right, San Diego, batting cleanup, the designated hitter from your San Diego Padres, Will Myers. Batting fifth, the catcher from the San Francisco Giants. Out in the bullpen, Buster Posey. Batting sixth and playing first base from the Chicago Cubs, Anthony Rizzo. Batting seventh and playing center field from the Miami Marlins, Marcell Ozuna. Batting eighth, the left fielder from the Colorado Rockies, Carlos Gonzalez. And batting ninth, the shortstop from the Chicago Cubs, Addison Russell. And the starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the San Francisco Giants, Johnny Cueto. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2015 World Series champion Kansas City Royals, Ned Yost. Leading off and playing second base from the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. Batting second, the center fielder from the Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. Batting third and playing third base from the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. Batting fourth, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, Poppy David Ortiz. Batting fifth and playing shortstop from the Boston Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts. Batting sixth, the first baseman from the Kansas City Royals, Eric Hosmer. Batting seventh and playing right field from the Boston Red Sox, Mookie Betts. Batting eighth and catching from the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. batting ninth and playing left field from the Boston Red Sox, Jackie Bradley Jr. The starting pitcher warming up in the bullpen from the Chicago White Sox, Chris Sale. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2016 National League and American League All-Stars. And now it's time to meet the All-Star teams. We start with the American League. Named to the coaching staff by manager A.J. Hinch from the Tampa Bay Rays, Kevin Cash. And representing the Houston Astros, Rich Dower. From the Boston Red Sox, Mitch Moreland and Craig Kimbrell. From the Cleveland Indians, Yan Gomes, Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Corey Kluber, and Trevor Bauer. From the Detroit Tigers, Joe Jimenez. From the Houston Astros, Alex Bregman, George Springer, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, and Charlie Morton. From the Minnesota Twins, Jose Barrios. From the New York Yankees, Gleyber Torres, Luis Severino, and Aroldis Chapman. From the Oakland Athletics, Jed Lowry and Blake Trinan. From the Seattle Mariners, Gene Segura, Mitch Haniger, Nelson Cruz, and Edwin Diaz. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Blake Snell. And the Buffalo, Wilson Ramos. From the Texas Rangers, Shin-Soo Choo. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Jay Happ. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. Managing the American League from the 2017 World Series champion Houston Astros, A.J. Hinch.
Ready? Come on. Give him knuckles. Good work. Congrats.
Leading off and playing right field for the Boston Red Sox, Mookie Betts. Batting second and playing second base from the Houston Astros, Jose Altuve. Batting third, the center fielder from the Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. Hitting cleanup, the designated hitter from the Boston Red Sox, J.D. Martinez. Batting fifth and playing third base from the Cleveland Indians, Jose Ramirez. Batting sixth, the left fielder from the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge. Batting 7th, the shortstop from the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. Batting 8th, the first baseman from the Chicago White Sox, Jose Abreu. And batting 9th, the catcher from the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. Tonight's starting pitcher from the Boston Red Sox, Chris Sale. And now the National League All-Star team. Named to the coaching staff by manager Dave Roberts from the Colorado Rockies, Bud Black. And from your Washington Nationals, Dave Martinez. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Zach Greinke. And Patrick Corbin. From the Atlanta Braves, Ozzie Albies. And Mike Foltynewicz. From the Chicago Cubs, John Lester. From the Cincinnati Reds, Scooter Gennett. Eugenio Suarez. And Joey Votto. From the Colorado Rockies, Charlie Blackmon. And Trevor Story. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Ross Stripling. And Kenley Jansen. From the Miami Marlins, JT Realmuto. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Lorenzo Cain. Christian Yelich. Jesus Aguilar. Jeremy Jeffress. And Josh Hader. From the New York Mets, Jacob deGrom. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Aaron Nola. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Felipe Vasquez. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Yadier Molina. From the San Diego Padres, Brad Hand. And from your Washington Nationals, Sean Doolittle. Now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup.
Okay, all right. You ready? So once they say so, you'll be right next to me, right behind me, all right?
The manager from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dave Roberts.
All right. Come on, Blackie. Let's go, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, fellas. Let's go.
Leading off and playing second base from the Chicago Cubs, Javier Baez. Batting second, the third baseman from the Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. Batting third, the designated hitter from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Paul Goldschmidt. Batting fourth, the first baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman. Batting fifth and playing left field from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Matt Kemp. All right, here he is, batting sixth and playing center field, The home run derby champion from your Washington Nationals, Bryce Harper. Batting seventh, the right fielder from the Atlanta Braves, Nick Markakis. Batting eighth, the shortstop from the San Francisco Giants, Brandon Crawford. Batting ninth, the catcher from the Chicago Cubs, Wilson Contreras. And the starting pitcher for the National League, from your Washington Nationals, Max Scherzer. And now it's time to meet the All-Star teams. We start with the National League. From the Atlanta Braves, named to the coaching staff by manager Dave Roberts, Brian Snitker. And Mike Soroka. From the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant. From the Cincinnati Reds, Sonny Gray. And Luis Castillo. From the Colorado Rockies, Charlie Blackmon. David Dahl. And Trevor Story. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Max Muncy. Walker Buehler. And Clayton Kershaw. From the Miami Marlins, Sandy Alcantara. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Yasmani Grandal. Mike Moustakas. Brandon Woodruff. And Josh Hader. From the New York Mets, Jeff McNeil. The home run derby champion. What a show last night, Pete Alonso. And Jacob deGrom. From the Philadelphia Phillies, JT Realmuto. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, Felipe Vasquez. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Paul DeYoung. From the San Diego Padres, Kirby Yates. From the San Francisco Giants, Will Smith. And from the Washington Nationals, Max Scherzer. Now the American League All-Star team. Named to the coaching staff by manager Alex Cora, from your Cleveland Indians, Terry Francona. From the Baltimore Orioles, John Means. From the Boston Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts. And Mookie Betts. From the Chicago White Sox, Lucas Giolito. James McCann. And Jose Abreu. From your Cleveland Indians, Francisco Lindor. Brad Hand. And Shane Bieber. From the Detroit Tigers, Shane Green. from the Houston Astros, Garrett Cole and Ryan Presley. From the Kansas City Royals, Whit Merrifield. From the Los Angeles Angels, Tommy La Stella. From the Minnesota Twins, Jake Odorizzi and Jose Berrios. From the New York Yankees, Masahiro Tanaka, Gleyber Torres, and Aroldis Chapman. From the Oakland Athletics, Liam Hendriks and Matt Chapman. From the Seattle Mariners, Daniel Vogelbach. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lowe, Austin Meadows, and Charlie Morton. From the Texas Rangers, Joey Gallo, Mike Minor, and Hunter Pence. And from the Toronto Blue Jays, Marcus Stroman. All right, now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. Managing the National League from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Dave Roberts. Leading off, the left fielder from the Milwaukee Brewers, Christian Yelich. Batting second, the shortstop from the Chicago Cubs, Javier Baez. Batting third, the first baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman. Batting cleanup, the right fielder from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Cody Bellinger. Batting fifth, playing third base from the Colorado Rockies, Nolan Arenado. Batting sixth, the designated hitter from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Josh Bell. Batting seventh, the catcher, out of the bullpen from the Chicago Cubs, Wilson Contreras. Batting eighth, playing second base from the Arizona Diamondbacks, Ketel Marte. Batting ninth and playing center field from the Atlanta Braves, Ronald Acuna Jr. And the starting pitcher out of the bullpen from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Hyun-Jin Ryu. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2018 World Series champion Boston Red Sox, Alex Cora. Leading off and playing right field from the Houston Astros, George Springer. Batting second and playing second base from the New York Yankees, DJ LeMahieu. Batting third, the center fielder from the Los Angeles Angels, Mike Trout. The cleanup hitter, playing first base from your Cleveland Indians, Carlos Santana. Batting fifth, the designated hitter for the Boston Red Sox, J.D. Martinez. Batting sixth and playing third base from the Houston Astros, Alex Bregman. Batting seventh, the catcher out of the bullpen from the New York Yankees, Gary Sanchez. Batting eighth, the left fielder, longtime Cleveland Indian, now with the Houston Astros, Michael Brantley. Batting ninth, the shortstop from the Minnesota Twins, Jorge Polanco. And the starting pitcher, warming up in the bullpen from the Houston Astros, Justin Verlander. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2019 National League and American League All-Stars. We start with the American League. Named to the coaching staff by manager Kevin Cash from the Cleveland Indians, Terry Francona. From the Boston Red Sox, Nathan Eovaldi. J.D. Martinez. And Matt Barnes. From the Chicago White Sox, Tim Anderson. Liam Hendricks. Lance Lynn. And Carlos Rodon. From the Cleveland Indians, Jose Ramirez. And Shane Bieber. From the Detroit Tigers, Gregory Soto. From the Kansas City Royals, Whit Merrifield. From the Los Angeles Angels, Jared Walsh. From the Minnesota Twins, Nelson Cruz. And Taylor Rogers. From the New York Yankees, Garrett Cole. And Aroldis Chapman. From the Oakland Athletics, Matt Olson. And Chris Bassett. From the Seattle Mariners, Yusei Kikuchi. From the Tampa Bay Rays, Mike Zunino. Joey Wendell. And Andrew Kittredge. From the Texas Rangers, Joey Gallo. Kyle Gibson. And Adolis Garcia. From the Toronto Blue Jays, Bo Bichette.
Oh, they love him.
And now the National League All-Star team. Named to the coaching staff by manager Dave Roberts, honorary coach and seven-time All-Star Reggie Smith. And from your Colorado Rockies, Bud Black. From the Arizona Diamondbacks, Eduardo Escobar. From the Atlanta Braves, Ozzie Albies. From the Chicago Cubs, Chris Bryant. And Craig Kimbrell. From your Colorado Rockies, German Marquez. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Chris Taylor. Justin Turner. And Walker Buehler. From the Miami Marlins, Trevor Rogers. From the Milwaukee Brewers, Omar Narvaez. Corbin Burns. Freddie Peralta. Brandon Woodruff. And Josh Hader. From the New York Mets, Taijuan Walker. From the Philadelphia Phillies, Zach Wheeler. From the St. Louis Cardinals, Alex Reyes. From the San Diego Padres, Jake Cronenworth. Manny Machado. And Mark Melancon. From the San Francisco Giants, Kevin Gausman. And Brandon Crawford. From the Washington Nationals, Trey Turner. Kyle Schwarber. And Juan Soto. And now let's meet the American League manager and starting lineup. Managing the American League from the Tampa Bay Rays, Kevin Cash. Leading off, the designated hitter and the starting pitcher. From the Los Angeles Angels, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, the first baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Batting third, the shortstop from the Boston Red Sox, Xander Bogaerts. Batting fourth and playing right field from the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge. Batting fifth and playing third base from the Boston Red Sox, Rafael Devers. Batting sixth, the second baseman from the Toronto Blue Jays, Marcus Semien. Batting seventh and catching from the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. Batting eighth, the left fielder from the Toronto Blue Jays, Teoscar Hernandez. And batting ninth and playing center field from the Baltimore Orioles, Cedric Mullins. And now let's meet the National League manager and starting lineup. The manager from the 2020 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers, Dave Roberts. Leading off and playing shortstop from the San Diego Padres, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second, the designated hitter from the Los Angeles Dodgers, Max Muncy. All right, Denver. All right, Colorado. Batting third, playing third base from the St. Louis Cardinals, Nolan Arenado.
Hitting cleanup, the first baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman. Batting fifth, the right fielder from the Cincinnati Reds, Nick Castellanos. Batting sixth in left field, also from the Cincinnati Reds, Jesse Winker. Batting seventh, the catcher from the Philadelphia Phillies, JT Realmuto. Batting eighth, the center fielder from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Brian Reynolds. And batting ninth and playing second base from the Pittsburgh Pirates, Adam Frazier. And the starting pitcher for the fourth time in his great career from the Washington Nationals, Max Scherzer. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2021 American League and National League All-Stars.